welcome to this week's video. I'm Sarah and we are in the basement pottery studio, so you know what that means. Glazing. It's a glaze with me video, and not just any glaze with me video, the long awaited, I alluded to it in my previous video, pink marble clay with pink glaze. All things pink. I think it's my favorite color. I even did the hair. Anyways, I'm going to take you through all the steps on how I created this beautiful mug and how I even glam it up just that much more. I had some great fun and I'm going to take you along for all the steps. So sit back, get a glass of wine or a cup of tea or wherever your happy place is in your studio, and sit back and enjoy this video because I even take us on an excursion. I'm going to take you to a local pottery supply store called Tucker's Pottery. They make cone art kilns and they also make their own clay. I'm going to take you along, let you see what a store looks like. I'm fortunate, because I live so close to Toronto, I have a variety of pottery stores that I can actually go to. And a lot of you ask about like where I get tools, brushes and stuff. So I get to frequent some stores nearby. I also do some stuff on Amazon. So you know what? I've started to link things below, anything that I like, especially like brushes. So have a peek. It is a link that is good throughout North America as well as like Europe. So all of Europe. So the link is good for that part. I can't seem to hook it up for you know, South Asia and Australia. For whatever reason, I've been trying and it's just not working. So if I figure that out, I'll let you know about that. I'm so excited that you're here today with me in my basement. And I wanted to say thank you again for all of your love and support. You guys have been like just giving me so much encouragement to continue making these videos. So thank you. Look at all these lovely things that you guys are saying about me. I mean, I'm flattered. I really am. So with that said, oh, and I even got some amazing advice from Nat at Mud Magic in Sydney, Australia, and she gave me this advice. So going forward, when I do more of these mugs, again, I'll film it and show you, and when I make other colored clay, she makes a really great recommendation. So thank you, Nat. With that, I will do that the next time I put it in the kiln. So because I did order more mason stains in pinks that so this time I should not run out. I should be able to make a nice intense pink clay body. So, but these are still so pretty. Like, I am really happy with them, and you can't, I mean, hello, gold, really? Oh, so pretty. All right, let's get to it. I know that was a long ramble, so I might have to like edit that out, but thank you. So let's see what I do. But pink is my favorite and seems to be the most popular. Most of my customers that I have, they really seem to like the pink marble. So this is a different pink. It's called it's Alpine Rose. It's a Mason Stain 6001. That is the actual color. And now this is only 100 grams. You can buy it in different sizes. I got this from Pottery Supply House. It might be a little more rose pink, but we're gonna find out. Kind of excited. So the clay body I'll be working with today is PLAINSMAN Clay in M340. It is out of Alberta, Canada. It's a wonderful clay manufacturer. I've used a few of their clay bodies and it's beautiful to throw with. I can hand build with. If you can get your hands on it, I suggest you do so. So I'm using, like I said, the M340, which fires to a stone gray buff at cone 6, and that's what I'm shooting for. And hopefully it will be compatible with the Mason stain. Well, here I am beginning to add the Mason stain. I sprinkle some down on my workstation and begin wedging the clay into the Mason stain. I also spritz with water as I'm adding a powder to an already kind of a creamier product, the clay. I need something to help mix it in. you need to kind of make the mason stain more fluid. So it's a labor of love. It's a commitment. It takes time. This is not a quick process. I find the best way for myself is to add a little bit of mason stain, wedge it in thoroughly, go back, add some more, always spritzing with water. And at this stage of the game, I'm not too concerned with air bubbles. I will absolutely wedge that out before I actually go to throw it. But what I'm doing here is just really trying to mix that mason stain in and get a perfectly blended clay. All in all, I used approximately 50 grams of the mason stain in this particular project. I used 1 pound of clay. So just so you understand the ratio, I think in hindsight, use 100, if not 150 grams next time, just to get that really saturated pink. Now the clay body it's starting to really come together. It's smoother because I've been mixing both the mason stain as well as the water in order to create a nice pliable clay. Now this is the only example that I have where you can see the color variation. It's subtle, and I had run out of the mason stain, so I was like, oh boy. Anywho, I decided to put it in a bag, let it rest, and for demonstration purposes, I have decided to show you how to marble with a darker clay body, which is the M390, and with the M340. Just because the variation in colors of these two clay bodies, it's gonna be more pronounced, and therefore you're gonna truly be able to see how a marbled effect is created. I will still show you how I do it with the pink, but it's just not as noticeable. So here I am taking the clay body, the lighter clay, M340, and honestly just wire cut it up. Doesn't matter. It's not about weight or size. You're just taking clumps of clay, as with the darker, the M390, just cut it up. You can rip it by your hand, and you're literally going to be pressing in and layering in random fashion the two clay bodies. This is what's going to create the beginning of the marble effect. You do need to wedge, but very minimal at this point. All you're going to be doing is wedging in order to begin to create some of that spiral effect, but you don't want to over wedge it, and it can happen really quick. And then, because remember, on the wheel, it's also going to be wedging. So you're just trying to begin the movement of the clay body at this phase. So you can see when I cut that clay in half, you can see the variation of shade. You're really not going to see it with these two, with the pink stained, but it's exactly the same fashion. You're just going to be laying it down in layers, random. I kind of do alternate between the lighter and the darker shade, and then you will do a very light wedging. I typically like to do more of a ram's head wedging for this, not spiral, because spiral I think just incorporates too much. You really want a mottled effect at this stage.
wondering what I'm putting down on my wheel, this is called a Batmate, and it's from Zeum Tools, and it's a chamois material. It lays between your chosen bat and your wheel head, and it just helps grip your bat that much better. I'm using the Dirty Girls bat system, and honestly, these are, in my opinion, a must-have. I enjoy working with them because it's such a time saver. You just throw on the wheel, you remove the insert, you can go and lay it on your wear board and let it dry slowly. It's just so convenient if you're trying to throw more pieces. It doesn't take a lot of room up on your shelving system, so it's something that I would encourage. It comes both in a square, which are 6.5 inches, or the round, and the round is 7.5 inches. And I remember toying between the two, and I still don't know what I prefer, because sometimes the square will hit my hand when I'm if I'm making too big of a base. And I think that maybe I might purchase the round in the future just to see which one I prefer, but they really do make a difference in your throwing and storage of your pieces. Now I made this sponge on a stick. I had bought one at the pottery store. The sponge I just found too large at the end, and it would like throw my pots off center when I was pulling it out. I would love to give credit where credit is due. I saw a video years ago, someone creating this sponge on a stick. I followed it, made it myself, and honestly, I love it. It's still going strong, never had to change it. Not only do I use it to mop water out of the bottom of the pot, but I also sometimes use it as a throwing stick to help kind of push the belly out of the pot. So this is the Garrity Tools C1, which is a round disc with a hole in the center so it doesn't slip out of your fingers. It is amazing for creating a really nice, smooth, rounded shape. If you're trying to create a little more of a bellied effect in the bottom of your pot. It removes the slip. It's wood, so it floats, so you can easily find it. So there's so many plus with this particular rib. I have a larger version of it as well. It comes, if you're making bowls or something that's a bit bigger, but I use this whenever I'm forming any of my mugs or any of my tumblers, just because it gives me that perfect rounded belly, especially down at the bottom of the pot. Because it's really hard for you to see the marble effect on this mug because the contrast is so minor, I'm putting this in so you actually see what it looks like when you're removing the slip with the ribs in order to reveal the marble effect. You really want to run the rib both on the inside as well as the outside of the pot, and the magic appears. This rib is called the foot fetish rib. It has two different foot profiles, so it's really versatile to create a lot of different effects with your pots. And that little lip is amazing for catching runny glazes to help prevent any runoff. You may have noticed that I do a lot of fine tuning with my pots even when they're still on the wheel. Because this is a marble effect, you do need to remove the slip in order to really see the marbling. However, I do this regardless of whether it's a solid clay body or my marbled clay body. I just find by finessing it while it's on the wheel, removing as much slip and trying to take care of all those little details, it just means less work for me later on when it comes around to trimming. If you try really hard, you can kind of see the pink, but it is pretty hard. Hi guys, we're back. It's day 2. The pots have all been sort of taking it easy overnight under their little blanket, and just so that they don't dry out too quickly. And we have to trim them today. Hard to see the pink swirls in here. Maybe you can see it a little bit. I think you're going to see it more when it misfires. We'll see the actual contrast, I hope. But the bottoms get a little bit drier. So I take it with 2 hands and spreading them out, my fingers out, so that I'm not applying too much pressure at any one spot. And then more so with the meatier part of my hands, I'm just prying it off the bottom from where I cut it off. And then leaving it upside down so that the bottoms get a little bit more dry time. It's glaze day. We're near the end of this journey with these lovely, well, hopefully they'll be lovely, pink marbled clay mugs. So we're going to be glazing these in, it's called Sunset Pink. It's a coyote glaze as the base, followed by another coyote glaze, which is called Archie's base. Makes everything kind of run, gives it a nice kind of creamy, runny effect. You know you're going to need brushes, and the more the better, especially if you're going to be glazing with a few different shades. You don't want it to show up with like one brush. Look for a soft bristle brush. This is I believe a goat bristle, very soft, very fluffy. The fan brush is an Mayco brush, which I quite like, and I pick them up every time I go to my pottery supply. I've also sourced some brushes on Amazon, and they've been really, really nice too. I've been testing some out so that I can make recommendations because you guys ask for brushes. So I'll put some links below for some tools. You can take a peek and see if it works for you. So if you've been watching or have seen my other videos, then you know that my biggest point that I try to share when glazing or brushing on glazes is to make sure that you put enough glaze on. One coat of glaze, honestly, your brush should at no time ever drag. It should run fluid and smoothly on the pot. If it's dragging, you need to stick it right back into that glaze and get some more. You're going to find that as your pot, you put more and more layers on, it takes longer and longer for the water to evaporate and the glaze to remain on the outside of the pot. That first coat, it will just dry really quickly. because it's thirsty. It wants that fluid. So make sure you apply enough glaze with each coat in order to ensure you get the lovely drips. And of course, as you see me there just writing my little note down, be sure to track your coats so you know exactly what you've done.
I love this glaze, except for the fact that it gums up like this. Ugh, and it takes forever to stir it up. But you know what? You've got to get all of these little particles, all of this incorporated. It's a must. So what I like to do on the inside is I don't go with the whole bottom because I like it to be a slightly darker pink. So I'll bring it down, right down to like right where the belly is there, and then I'll let it flow. So I like kind of have some of the sunset pink show on its own. So this is what I do, is I bring it down. Just like that. And then on the outside, I'm going to dial it back from the edge. So I'm just going to bring it back, not right to the edge, because it's going to move and it's going to pull whatever it's sitting on top with it. So that's my technique. I just leave it just back a little bit from the edge. And handles, of course, they are like a funnel for glaze. Everything was really going to pour down. So I'm not going to apply it quite as thick towards the bottom, because a lot of this glaze is just going to pool out and run down. Don't want that there. That's why you want to have your sponges handy. I'll do a proper cleanup of everything, but that looks good for the first coat.
So before you put your pot in the kiln, it's a really good practice to go around and make sure you have no glaze where you don't want it. So double check the bottom, really clean up the foot. You want to, just really inspect your piece. If there are a little bit, maybe too much glaze in one spot, you might want to remove it, as you see me doing here, very carefully with an X-Acto knife, just taking that little bead off, because like I said, Archie's base is a runner, and you never know, it may run too much. So I'm just being cautious, especially on the handle. As I was saying before, it is a funnel for glaze, so just remove those extra little beads here and there, and I just am buffing it out with my finger.
Okay, these are the marble mugs. I mixed the clay. Oh, it's subtle, it's soft. I think I was hoping for a little bit more of a brighter, it's too hot for me to hold. Whoa, almost dropped it, that would have been bad. So you can see it's just a soft pink and the white clay with my sunset pink Archie's base. I just love this combo, this glaze combo, one of my faves. So I've got 4 of these. That one got a little wishy-washy, but it's still pretty. The pink, that's just the sunset pink. I didn't bring the Archie's base over far enough, but it's still pretty. I don't mind that. That still looks really nice. If you remember, at the end, I kind of wasn't happy with the way it came out of the kiln. First of all, I ran out of some of the, I didn't have enough of the mason stain to really make the pink clay pop, and I went for it anyways. So it's a little bit can't really see a lot of the pink there. You can see it, but it's pretty faint. And I wanted a little more pop. But what really upset me about these is not this. This looks fine. It was here. I didn't like this wishy-washy edge. You've probably heard me talk about it before, but they kind of all came out that way. They all had a little bit of a wishy-washy, and that's my bad. I didn't pay attention to where my glaze was going. So I thought about it for a while, and I am going to try something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and it's going to require me to go to the pottery supply store. I'm going to pick up some Lustre. So I'm going to go with the actual premium Lustre and hopefully make these look better. All right, heading to Pottery Supply. We're going to go to Tucker's Pottery in Richmond Hill, Ontario. A lot of you guys have talked to me about pottery and pottery supply stores and where to get some goodies, so I thought I would take you on a trip. Look at all the different stamps. So, I mean, you can carve them yourselves, you can do your own thing, but they've got all kinds of great tools. All your rollers, these are the MKM rollers. Great fun. Even the bowl. You can do that, and that's got great textures on things. Always fun to add texture to your pots. I have this one. This one's actually a lot of fun. It's really pretty on pots. And I've done lids with it too. Oh, isn't that cute little heart? But these are my fan brushes I use all the time, the Mayco. I use these. But this is, I think mine might be a little bigger. I'd have to look at the number that I have. I think mine are 8s, not the 6. I prefer a bigger brush, but they're not inexpensive. That is for sure. The speedball, these are to go with square or round. I don't know. Sometimes I think I prefer round. Sometimes I think I prefer square for my drawing. Doing all of your witness cones. Always good to have on hand. That's where you put your cones in and it fires. And they carry, of course, you got all your Mayco, Celadons. This is interesting. I like this. So they show the different glazes. So that's my Sunset Pink with my Archie's base. Those two together make that beautiful pink that I... Let's see. I'm interested in this one. This Fairy Rose. Maybe I will. All your mud tools, all your sponges.
So we got 4 gallons for it's an extra 64
I can never have enough of these. These are wonderful. I use the white one. These puff up. These are, once they get wet, they'll puff. And they're lovely for throwing with. I'm also stocking up on a few different types. So if you're doing plates, this I like my red ribs. I've got all the different ribs here for mud tools. They're softer. The different colors are just different in their rigidity. You get different pliability with them. So it's a personal choice what you like to work with. But I find having a variety of tools makes a little difference for you when you're throwing. This would be great for doing plates. You can also do this for the inside of a pot to help belly out the pot, you know, or outside of a taller cylinder. So I need something a little longer, so I get one of those. I always use these, so having more, it can never hurt. Grab a sponge, brush. You've seen me use this tool quite a bit in doing some carvings. Very handy dandy. But my main thing was getting my gold Overglaze, and I went with the premium gold. So I took you guys to Tucker's yesterday, and today I'm going to work on these babies and see if I can make them something that I am proud of, because right now I am not thrilled. All right, so I had to get some cones, some of the pyrometric cones. These are the large ones in order for me to just be able to see if I achieve the right temperature. The gold Lustre wants a cone 018, so that's a much cooler temperature than even a bisque fire. So just so you understand the context of it. So with that said, I always get a lower temperature as well as a higher temperature cone, and then of course the actual cone that you wish to fire to. And then I also need to get the little junior cones, because this is what actually triggers my kiln to shut off. So these are the little guys. So I got my 018 because that's the temperature I'm going to be firing, because I'm doing the gold Lustre. And I picked up a couple more plaques, which you know, you can make your own. They're not that expensive, so I usually pick them up when I go to the pottery store or when I order stuff, because they're convenient and you can use them again. So these are for your cones. And I got, of course, my gold Lustre. This little bottle, look at the size of this thing. Look at this. This is 2 grams. 2 grams of the premium gold, and it's $75. Yeah, so call me crazy. I also picked up a Coyote glaze that I've had my eye on for a little while, and I'll see how this plays out. I'm not sure. And I got some other tools. I always grab, I have some of the, what's it called, Dolan tools, but I do like these. These are like the inexpensive ones, but they are sharp, and whenever I go to the pottery studio, I pick up a couple of those. I grabbed another mud tool sponge and another red rib and a green rib. And yeah, I think that was it. That's what was my haul. So I'm going to do this with you. I've never done it before, so I am going to open my window. I'm going to turn on my vent over my stove, and because you know what, I hear this is a pretty stinky, smelly product, and if it's really strong, I've even got my respirator, which I'll use, because you always want to make sure that everything is done safely. So with the kitchen window open, and then of course the vent hood on just to suck all the air out. I hope that will be enough so I can actually talk to you. If not, like I said, you're going to see me with the mask on. You need brushes, and you're supposed to use like clean brushes, new brushes. You're not to use or mix the brush from like the gold or the silver, or like even another glazing brush. It should be exclusive to these, because you'll end up marring the finish. So I think these are kind of small, but my idea is I just want to trail the gold right along the edge of the pot and this little band of pink. So I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. I'm just going to go right in there and paint it up. Fingers crossed. What you also need is the essence. This is to clean the brushes. So I've got the essence. I also had bought the white gold quite a while ago, so I may or may not use that. Again, I haven't tried it, but I'm again very curious. But today, I just think that this is going to look better with the yellow gold opposed to the white. I think I'm going to start off with cleaning the brush. And this stuff smells too, so want to make sure the brush is clean. So far so good. I've got the fan on a low setting, but the window is open, so the breeze is going this way, so past me and up and out of the house. Now the gold apparently is like a red auburny color, and apparently it does go pretty far. So I'm going to try. And the trick is you're supposed to put it on very evenly. I brought some alcohol over, rubbing alcohol, just in case I need to clean up.
And apparently if it's on a glossy finish, it'll be glossy. If it's on a matte finish, it'll be matte. And you're just supposed to kind of get a nice even finish with it. I'm going to work it right along the edge of my pot. Well, it really does flow quite nicely. Can you see all this? So wherever it's a bit wishy-washy, I'm going to put it on in the gold. And by the way, the ventilation thing, this is working very well. So an open window and the fan running to siphon out the fumes. I do not feel like it's too much. Actually, I can barely smell it, so. So literally wherever it's the dark pink, I am taking it to the gold. It's like applying liquid eyeliner. What I'm doing is kind of anchoring my hand on the side of the pot so that it's not too, that it's not, flowing around too much. And it's flowing quite nicely, actually. Okay. Put on that side, let it vent out of the house. So wherever you see that red is going to turn gold. I'll wipe it out first. And I'm probably going to put some like gold nail polish or something on there just so that I know it was used for gold. And I'm going to keep my brushes, or I might write gold on the side, just so I keep my brush exclusive. I can smell it now. Ooh, you would not want this in the house on its own. I'm going to turn the
the breeze has died down a little bit. So I'm not getting the cross breeze. So I'm just going to turn my fan up a little bit more. Whew. Let that dry. If you don't have a well ventilated area, do it outside because it's strong. Apparently, you shouldn't use it if you're pregnant, breastfeeding and all that stuff. It's probably a good caution to not be using it. I don't know if it says it here. It doesn't say it there. Definitely, if you're, then maybe at least be mindful of it because it's a harsh chemical. So this is just 70% rubbing alcohol, Q-tip. It's a little bit of a textured part there. There, got it. Sorry. So they're ready for the kiln. I'm going to do a couple of others. I might use the silver on some other pots I have downstairs that I was kind of like, and then I'm going to load them into the kiln, fire them up, and cross my fingers. So this is 019. It's going to melt down completely. 018, you hope for the arch. And we hope that this one doesn't bend at all. That's the 017. So it's once you get on the on the other side with the 0 in front, the higher the number, the cooler the temperature. Crack the kiln, keep the air flowing, get that chemical burn off going. Timer, I don't know, I'm gonna put it at 9 hours. I don't think it's gonna take that long. I've heard things like about 3 or 4 hours, so that hopefully will be plenty of time. The kiln sitter's set. I'm going to just go for a fast startup. So I'm just going to turn all the elements on, and let's rock and roll. 210, and I'm just going to keep checking. All right, so I just changed the battery. Good thing I saw that because it would have shut off on me. Okay, so where was I? So I was just showing you the cone and the junior cone. So I got a perfect, this is saying it's a perfect cone 018. It melted exactly what you want. And like I said, it did shut off, but I don't understand that. It did not budge. It was in the middle of the kiln, bottom shelf. It was maybe because it was an empty kiln. Like it really only has a few things in here. So are you guys ready? I'm so excited. These look so pretty. Oh, I'm so glad I did it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Tell me what you think. Oh my gosh. Oh. Wow. That is gorgeous. So let's see if they all worked out good. You can see where it was on a bit more of a matte texture because you actually see that it's got a little bit of a dull, but then it's a high shine as well. I'm glad I didn't fill that in. Ooh, okay, you know I'm gonna take pictures, right? You know I'm gonna do that and it's a lovely sunny day. Oh, that looks nice too, right there at the bottom. Okay, you know it. I'm gonna take some pictures in the sun. And that always looks really pretty. Okay, yeah. That turned out well. Another one. Much better than what it looked like before, in my opinion. You tell me in the comments below, please. Do you prefer the gold? Did you prefer the way it looked beforehand? I think that's so pretty. So if you stuck into this until the end, you're a champ. Thank you. So happy with these. So happy with these. I can't even look at that shine. Oh my goodness, you couldn't really see it in the garage or even in the sunlight, you know. I'm impressed. Expensive? Yes. Worth it? Yes. Look at that. Look at this. It was really long. I didn't think it was going to be that long. When I started looking at all the footage, I was like, oh, holy. So, sorry about that, but now you know. So, pink clay, marble clay, gold luster. That was a jam-packed video. So hopefully you appreciate it, and if you do, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to boop, give it a little love tap. Subscribe to my channel. It's free. It's free. So follow me on Instagram, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.